And there's my guy. And there's my guy, Jesse Smith. Hello, hello, and welcome to the new show. It's good to see you, man. It was good rapping with you the other night. If you folks haven't already done it, we're going to encourage you to hit the subscribe button so you can follow us all season long on Apple and Spotify podcasts at A Joe and a Pro Cycling Podcast, or you can find us on the Bicycle Station YouTube channel. I recently had Jesse and Chase, his bountiful bride, on my mindset and human performance focused show, the Bounce Forward podcast. And that night, after we recorded that episode, Jesse and I were on the phone, scheming and dreaming and wheeling and dealing. And this is one of the projects that came out of that. So whether you're on the Bicycle Station train, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people on that train, or you're just jumping on for some colorful bike banter, we want to welcome you to show number 1 of this fresh and I'm sure sometimes dirty two-wheeled endeavor. I'm the Joe, Michael Leach. Jesse Smith here is the industry pro and the bearded man. We're looking forward to having you with us for this ride. And the question I would ask out of the gate is, how many of you wished you had the opportunity to ask questions of an insider pro in the bike industry? Jesse's been that guy for me. If you're nodding your head, this show is very much for you. Like so many other riders and racers, I've spent countless nights perusing the dark and often toxic chat rooms of the World Wide Web, looking for questions, answers to questions from everything to bottom bracket height, to bushing play, to Q factor on a specific set of pedals. And so we're going to riff, we're going to ramble, we're going to keep this show rooted in our reason for existence. We're going to keep these topics grounded in the people that we believe truly drive the industry, and that's the ordinary Jills and Joes who love the ride. And we're hoping to cover a lot of ground each episode. We're going to keep this really raw and organic. We're going to keep it, as I say in the show intro, light and loose and low key, which is, I think, part of our mantra. And each show is going to represent some freewheeling and often just unscripted conversations covering topics ranging from racing to event vibes to industry insider tips, new tech, bike drops, bike shop knowledge, with some thoughts and perspective on bike culture from two very different dudes, different generations, different time zones, different backgrounds. Jesse's in Indiana, I'm from Montana, and we're both dads. We both work with athletes in this industry. We both toe the line as endurance racers, though Jesse does so a lot faster than I do, and we're both passionate about bikes, and we're excited to kickstart this new project. So for today's inaugural episode, we're going to check in with Jesse about his dynamic early racing season, learn about some of the tech he's been using, perhaps some of the tech he's liking and not so much feeling. And if you know Jesse Smith, and if you follow his YouTube channel, and if you don't, I highly encourage you to do so, where you'll find this on the Bicycle Station YouTube channel, you'll know that he's always going to give it to you straight. And being an industry insider with not one, not 2, but 3 bike shops in Indiana, he's got access to bikes and equipment that most of us mere mortals can only dream of. So I'm going to pick Jesse's brain today on a topic that's long been an occupier of too much headspace for me, pedals. A topic Jesse and I had a late night conversation, off-air conversation earlier this week. We both like to drive and talk, and we shared a good one earlier this week. So let's just jump right into it. Jesse, my friend, how's it at the bike shop today, and what's moving and shaking? And are you in Bloomington, Indiana today? Where are we today?
No, Columbus. We don't have a store in Bloomington.
Columbus.
I'm from
That's right.
Bloomington originally.
That's right.
People do get that mixed up a lot.
So tell me the 3 shops. So we got Columbus. Now we got Indianapolis.
Yeah, Fountain Square.
Fountain Square.
And then Jeffersonville, which is right on the...
Jeffersonville.
Yeah,
right.
I usually tell people Louisville. It's on the Indiana side of Louisville, basically.
Nice.
Both those locations are in Upland breweries. If you're familiar with beer in Indiana, you'll know what Upland is.
Okay.
But yeah, that's today's been good, man. Other than my truck, I was in Brevard like early in the year. I think like January, late January, early February. We were in Brevard for like a company trip. We all 4 of us, the main 4 crew here, went there, got an Airbnb for a week, and it rained the whole time. We still got a lot of good riding in. this was around the time we were filming BC40 versus Epic Evo, actually, Michael.
Nice. Yeah,
So
yeah.
you can
One of my
see some
faves.
footage from that. Just tons of rain, but I was parallel parking in downtown Brevard, and I have a big honking like 23 Tundra. You have a Tundra too, I know.
Yeah, I got the '06 Tundra with the
06.
300,000 miles, and then I got a 2020 Tundra
Yeah.
that's pretty big like yours.
So I basically it was like a college town downtown. There's like a tree planter with just like a nice tree, but the tree like angled like this, and then it went like this, and then like this, and then like this.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
And I have it, my Tundra's slightly lifted. It's got like what most people would consider a leveling kit with like 35s.
Nice.
And I was parallel parking with the screen. Like it has a computer screen the size of my computer I'm looking at right now. And it's safer to usually do that because you can see the car in front of you and behind you. Like your mirrors don't show you if you're going to bump into the car behind you when you're parallel parking.
Yeah.
So I wasn't looking at the mirror, and I literally like parked I was driving backwards, and then the mirror folded like this, which is an expensive repair. My
And
insurance,
all these Toyota repairs are expensive these
Yeah.
days. Yeah.
my insurance said no, and so I just was like, I'm gonna pay for it. It's like $2,000. There's like 4 cameras in it, so it's expensive.
Oh yeah, the cameras.
They can't tell me when they can get it, so there's no ETA on this part, like at all, like no ETA, and that's been my day. So now I'm just like, how do I fix my truck? Because Toyota can't fix my truck, and I mean I can drive it with no mirror, but it's kind of annoying. And actually, it's made me. I relate to them though. I have the same situations. It's like Shram's like, sorry, it's going to be 6 months before you get that. Like, I mean, that's real. And so like, I'm sitting here being on the other side of it, and I totally relate to all the customers. And I mean, I always try my best to lobby for customers and getting it as quickly as possible. But yeah, I'm sitting here, I'm like, this is just like the bike industry, isn't it? In a little bit. But that's been my day.
Well, I got to plug you, man. Early and often here. You know, we had the BC bike build video here. I'm actually going to get that on my social this week because people were asking about it after yesterday's post. But man, just working with you, the shop, the way you put things together for the BC40 on that. I'm calling it the silvery sage on that Porsche Ice Green metallic that you had there. Man, you guys decked it out. The video was so beautiful, and so it was such a pleasure. Like, man, every little update you gave me, the pictures you did send, and so the patience was easy on this end. What's shop life like today? So you've been dealing with the truck. What else has been going on there in Columbus? What's the weather like? That's what I want to know about right now, because let me tell you, yesterday my wife and I are walking Main Street. I'm on the trainer for the third straight day today, or third straight, what was it, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so 3 days in a row on the trainer. Woke up to snow this morning, woke up to a couple inches yesterday. I mean, like, it was coming down. So we're on our 7th month of the flurries here. What's it doing in Indiana?
Yesterday was beautiful. We filmed a video yesterday. We did the World Cup, drop bar World Cup, and we did time testing against my Enve Mog. And so that'll be the next video up on the channel within a week or so, whatever.
Tell me a little bit about it. I ride and race in those gravel events, but I've never had a true gravel bike. I got the salsa cutthroat. I'm a mountain biker at heart, and so I like the riding the drop bar mountain bike. Growing up out in North Idaho, my cousins in Northwest Montana. We've got generations of Wyoming roots. Most of the mountain biking that I grew up, ripping with my dad was on, service roads, fire roads, dirt roads. And so, we've been riding hardtails on quote gravel for a long time. And so I love my drop bar mountain bike, that Cutthroat. Tell me just a little teaser what you found in those tests.
So the road we did, the like we were talking about the weather. The reason I brought this up was that it was beautiful conditions, not a lot of brake bumping on the hill climb part, but it's still closer than I think most people would think. The flat part, I think most people could guess what bike is faster. There's a 5-pound weight difference between the two bikes.
So do you attribute that, like what I'm sure you've got a much larger tire volume on the Epic versus the Mog. Do you think it's more aerodynamics or tire? What do you attribute that to?
Well, we put a 2.1 inch tire on the Mog.
Oh, nice.
So
so you were running
there was a difference.
Yeah.
The World Cup has 2.35s.
Okay.
And the Mog has 2.1s, and same tire, same compound, Schwab Super Race Thunderbird. So we tried to kind of like give, I feel like if you're racing the drop bar mountain bike, you're going to want the 2.4, because if you don't, what's the point?
Yeah.
Like, why are you on it if you don't want the big tire? And then the Mog, I also kind of am like, oh, this is so sick. You can fit a big tire in it. So I think it's a perfect bike to like clash together.
Okay.
The Mog's 5 pounds lighter, significantly lighter. But again, I mean, I really don't want to spoil the video, but
no, we're not gonna ask you to spoil the video. We'll hit it up on the pod. We can hit it up on one of the next pods here.
It's a lot closer than you would guess, is what I'll say. Like let's talk about it like that. I'm not gonna say what won, but just the fact that it's close, I think, is impressive. That the drop bar mountain bike and the Mog are as close in the time testing as they are.
I love hearing that. Hearing that. I also loved when I got that text from you. I got a text. I was going to pick up Kamaya. Let me check this. I probably have it memorized, but when I get a text from my guy Jesse Smith that says, I got a rad solution for the Cutthroat, I think.
Oh yeah.
Then I'm pretty juiced. So we might have to touch on that. But let's jump right into it, man. I was telling my physical therapist about you today. Showing him the cover art. He was digging it. I've been fighting some niggles, some overuse stuff. I've been a lot of training inside. And as a endurance coach, as a cycling coach, as a mental performance and mindset coach, man. Riding inside, Dylan Johnson, we've had him on the Bounce Forward podcast a couple times, and I can't remember if it was on the show, before the show, after the show, but when he heard the amount of time I have to spend on the indoor trainer, I remember Dylan said something to the degree of, man, I've spent about 4 or 5 days this year on the indoor trainer, and if I had to spend that kind of time on indoor trainer, I would really have to question whether I still want to do this. And the thing I'll tell you about the indoor trainer and how I've been training differently as a self-coached athlete, and how I've been using this methodology, if you will, with athletes, especially in northern climates, has been reducing the volume, increasing the intensity, more of a reverse periodization approach, whereas historically I've spent a lot of time on the trainer doing volume, more of a traditional base build. But one thing my physical therapist said today that I've always found to be true for myself, and granted I deal with some extra ailments and some autoimmune stuff that might be a little more unique to my situation, my circumstances in particular, but always found the trainer to be a haven for overuse injuries, just a microcosm for overuse injuries, just because it's so repetitive and it's so static. So I was in there getting dry needled like a mug today, and talking it up and telling them a little bit about your season. And so with that, let's jump right into it. You've had such a dynamic race season out of the gate this spring, and I know you've dealt with injuries yourself. I'm curious, just to have you kind of break down, maybe tell us a little bit about the Ozark, that grind in the Ozark, the Cohutta, and any other races that you've lined up for thus far this spring. I know Chase had the Mid-South. I also know you're big on the NUE. I think you're pretty bullish on the NUE this year, so I want to jump into that a little bit. I know that's something you're really gunning for this season. So why don't you just kind of give us a little background on Jesse Smith's spring here thus far?
Yeah, I think it starts with the trainer actually, and I just don't do it like at all because it hurts too bad. Like I get on the trainer and I can't sit there and do it. It hurts my back. Like, and I'm talking like I'll put a bike that has a bike fit, proper bike fit on it. It's not even like I can't do it. So my season started off pretty much not riding at all. I mean, I think I might have taken maybe 2 months off. I rode occasionally. If it was nice out, I went and rode, but like we're talking like a month and a half, like I just didn't ride at all. And picked it back up. My training is very sporadic and random. I don't want to pretend like I'm like on it, like I do ride a lot and I try my best to train, but like a lot of this stuff is like, I like to think of myself as like, I'm a pretty big prepper. So like my bikes are always perfect. Yeah. My, nutrition is really good. I have a lot of resources, which is something that most people don't really talk about. Like my resources, like I'm not getting paid to go to racing because I'm a sponsored athlete. I'm getting paid to go to racing because it's my job and it's my bike shop. But what I'm trying to say is that I have a ton of resources, more than most people, to like go to these events and be comfortable and have everything I need ready. Logistics are sorted. So a lot of the time, like I have some advantages in that area where people who have been training way harder than me maybe don't. Maybe their bike's not as good. It's pretty hard to have a bike that's as good as mine and also be in the same age group as me, So yeah, there's a couple things like that I think helps out in my cause. The first race I did.
Let me jump in real quick, Jesse. That's one of the things that excites me most about teaming up with you for this podcast, because you can hire myself, you can hire my mentors, the great Larry Foss, the great Mike Derner, Jim Lehman, Josh Nelson, there's so many, Sarah Kaufman, a lot of these coaches that I work with, mentors. You can go to Training Peaks, you can go to FastCat, you can pull training plans off the web, but I think what you bring to this as far as being able to help the everyday Jill and Joe, the training is what it is. Okay, the training is what it is. But as far as the equipment, like you've been like a, you've not only been a mentor, but you've been this just incredible resource. When I was debating between the Specialized Epic Evo and the BC40, like it was so hard. I think I found one guy in Denver, one bike shop owner who had experience racing and endurance events on both. And then, I'd been watching your videos. I'd been a subscriber to your channel for years, but that response I got from Chase, the response, where she copied and pasted what you sent, the amount of time you put into that, jumping on the phone with you, the detail, your knowledge, both, being a bike shop owner, but I will tell you this, I spend a lot of time around people in the industry. You've got this like Messiah thing going, I think, like as far as you got a little, you got something extra, man. You have such a passion for this. I feel like you have such a deep and rich knowledge, and it's one of the things that really excites me. I mean, it's one thing to listen to, a podcast where, for instance, the Bounce Forward podcast, where I've got these big names on the show, whether it's, a Rose Grant or a Gwendolyn Gibson or a Haley Smith or Dylan Johnson, and we're learning about their story. And I like to describe that podcast as freewheeling conversations, diving deep into the psychology of the comeback. We're really focused on sports psychology, mindset, performance, and I think there's a lot that people can take from that. But as far as, a lot of these people are physiological freaks, and so they might be able to, like, how they train. I can't train the way Rose Grant trains. Like, Rose Grant is not only a beautiful human, but she's another level physiologically. The way you've helped me with the things that you can help any rider or athlete with, I think is one of the things that really excites me. And the other thing that excites me is seeing you do so well when I get the impression, and that was a question I was going to have for you, and I think you just answered it. One of the questions I had for you was, are you on a structured plan, or are you just winging it?
I have an answer.
What? Say that again.
I have an answer for that.
Okay, give me that. Give me that. We want that answer.
It's a structured plan that falls apart every week and is never followed.
So you're winging it, and I love that, man.
I'm not winging it. I don't want to, because I'm like Trey. If you're familiar with it,
Trey, I liked how Trey in that Cohutta video.
Well, Trey is my coach.
Okay.
And so Trey's about to launch a coaching platform, like kind of off of our platform. So stay tuned for that if you're looking for a coach too. But Trey coaches me, and he writes workouts, and I do them. But then, like, this is the thing. So yesterday we're filming Enve Mog versus World Cup. Okay, so that's a video I have to film. Well, guess what? To film that video, I have to do 3 10-minute efforts at 300 watts. Or sorry, 4.
Yeah.
4 10-minute efforts at 300 watts. My workout was
sounds
actually
like a good threshold workout right there.
It was
for
actually
you. Like,
my actual workout was easier than the video we filmed.
for sure.
And
that's what I was trying to do on the indoor trainer today. Was 4 8-minute intervals at threshold. Yeah.
So my workout was a warm up, and then 3 times 8 minutes at 270 watts.
Okay.
So I totally blew that workout out of the water.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by like, oh, we got to film this video. Well, like, the video requires me to do a really, I wasn't dying. I will say this. I do have some pretty high power for the amount that I train. I think it's just from years and years of swimming, and like, my power has declined from the early days. Whenever I first jumped on the bike, I had some stupid numbers just from my swimming base.
Yeah.
And it's definitely gotten worse, but 4 times 10 minutes at 300 watts, like, hard, definitely hard, not impossible. But it's hilarious that my structured workout was actually easier.
Yeah.
And then it's like, did I do my training plan? No, I didn't. But I did a training workout. And so Trey's really good. Like, the reason I have Trey coach me is because he knows he's with me in it. And so he knows, like, Jesse's got to do this, so he can't do this long workout. I will be honest with you. A lot of my weeks are like really backloaded. So I'll be like doing like 8 to 10 hours on the weekends, like Saturday, Sunday, which honestly is like a full week of training. It's just loaded into 2 days.
Yeah. It sounds like you're very much, and Trey does a great job of being in that adapt, adjust, reload mode. And I think when you're doing what you're doing with the YouTube channel, with the 3 bike shops, racing, and a little, you've got to be adaptable. You got to be highly adaptable. You got to embrace adapt, adjust, reload. So it doesn't seem like it's hurting you, man. We come from a swim background. Every time my daughter's popping one off at sectionals or Western zones or high school state or club state, I'm sending it to Uncle Jesse. I'm sending Jesse Smith those numbers. And so physiologically, yes, swimmers just have an engine, and to swim.
Yeah.
And this is something I want to cover in one of the future episodes, is a little your swim background, because I do think that has to be, from a coaching standpoint, a part of how you're able to more flexible, wing it from time to time, and still go out there and put out those numbers that you're putting out, because there is a very unique physiology that comes, an engine that's built from being a swimmer, especially a high level competitive swimmer like you were all through high school and into college.
No, I've never trained as hard as I did in swimming. And even whenever, like, let's say I nail a whole month of training from Trey, like I just nail it, do every workout, I still feel like a failure, because like it's so easy compared to what I was doing in swimming. It's just so easy. Like training for riding, especially like where I'm at, which is I'm like a fringe podium guy. You know, like I'll be there, I'll be in the race. I'm not gonna. Okay, I mean, I did win a race recently, but it was a pretty extreme race, so I don't know if we want to like let's use the Cohutta, like the 6th place. Like that was a great result for me. You know, I'm really proud of that. But yeah, I'm still like 50 to 100 watts off winning that race. You know, and I don't know if I'll ever get there because of just my schedule. Like it's not really my focus. Yeah. If I can be good enough to be competitive, I'm having fun, I'm enjoying myself, I feel good. I'm not really driven by winning the race. I think it's more of a personal challenge. I like to compete, but I actually am not looking at the guy in front of me most of the time. And I know that might sound lame. I mean, I really don't care. Like, if somebody's beating me, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I just got to be honest.
Jesse, as a mindset and performance coach, that sounds very healthy to me. Sounds very healthy to me. Every athlete I work with, whether they're highly competitive, whether they're an age grouper, whether they're a high school kid that's about to play in college, a future Division I basketball player I'll be working with down in Arizona here after we get off this session here, after we get off this pod today. I talk so much, I share with them the importance of process, and we find that the athletes that are more driven by, and it's not that results don't matter. I mean, obviously the results matter a bit.
I care a little bit.
And for some they matter more than others. This athlete I'm going to be working with this afternoon, they really matter. She's trying to get a Division I basketball scholarship, and yet what we find in the world of human performance is that performers and athletes that are more driven by the process, it's not only more sustainable, they tend to not only have more success, but they're far healthier and much happier than those that are driven exclusively by results. And the one thing we know about those results-driven athletes, when you are black and white about it's a win or a loss, like it's a miserable existence more often than not. So I would say I'm sitting here nodding and loving how you're describing your process, and it's clearly working for you. So tell us a little bit about let's kind of go in order. I'd love to hear a little bit about the Ozark race and then the Cohutta. So why don't you start?
Do you want to do all of them, or do you just want to jump?
I think we just run. Yeah, I'd like to hear just. I don't think we have to go into great detail about them, but I'd just love to hear what the experience was like. Those are two very different races. One on drop bar, one on a flat bar. I'd love to just hear you dive into those two experiences.
So the Ozark Doom,
which you'd done last year. Yeah,
I did the 400 mile last year. I know that the 400 mile is probably the more flashy distance, and I'm being hard on myself. Like I did it, I completed it. I did it. So I don't have to be down on myself. But I looked at the 200 mile and I was like, that sounds awesome. Like. Yeah. Just going like just doing it in one go. I didn't want to sleep. The sleeping is the part that I don't like. Like, I just don't want to worry about sleeping. Like, it's not interesting to me. It gets a little bit too far, and it's not that like that's not fun. It's just it gets stressful logistically, 100%. Like I just would rather like load it up for a one and done excursion, finish it, and feel like I'm making progress. And I had a blast doing that race, man. It was leading up to it, I did 2 kind of practice races with that bike. I went down to Georgia and did Southern Cross, which was a perfect testing ground for that machine.
And were you on the specialized Epic World Cup?
Yeah,
for
the
that?
Epic World Cup drop bar. Yeah, perfect testing ground. Just gravel roads with jagged rocks sticking out of it the whole time. No single track at that Georgia race. I'm sure people are familiar with Southern Cross. It's been around for a long time. And then I went and did our glacial drainage race that we put on in Madison, Indiana. Did it on the World Cup again. It didn't do as well there because, unfortunately, due to flooding, we had to shorten the race course, and so all of the like kind of gnarlier sections got cut out of the course. It was basically a road race, honestly. Okay. So it was a little overgunned for it. Yeah. But then I went to the Ozarks, and I don't know if I told you this, but my training is kind of loose, and so I was actually like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Like I was pretty worried. I seriously was talking to Chase or somebody. I might have been talking to Dave, and
well, we spoke on your drive down. Yeah. On your drive down, I wasn't quite sure where your headspace was.
I was just like, how am I gonna? I hadn't been riding at all. You can go look at my Strava. So like, I don't hide anything. If you follow me on Strava, like you can just see what I'm doing. Like all the power data is there. It's like, I mean, I invite you to go look at it because like, yeah, there's like pretty much 2 weeks where I didn't ride before the 200-mile race, like just straight up. So I was not super excited. Just because I was like, how am I going to do this? Because I get myself in over my head, but I never really drown, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I keep entering these harder and harder things, and it's like, oh, I have even less preparation this time, and then it's like, yeah, I won the race. Like, it's like so weird.
Here's the thing, Jesse, your physiology is not relatable to most people. I'll say, like, you put out power, you've got a unique physiology and build, but what you just described, this is again why I'm so excited about this show, this platform. What you just described is most people's experience. You know, as far as I know, you're out there, you're highly competitive, but as far as the people who are showing up to pull off, whether it's something as big as Leadville or you have athletes. One of my specialties, in part because I've dealt with so many injuries, is helping athletes navigate the mental side of injuries. And one of the first things you see, and I even get triggered by this part, I just took 4 days off the bike because of all that driving I was doing. St. George and back, which is 12 hours down, 12 hours back. We made that trip twice, so 4 12-hour drives in 13 days. And then a lot of training in between, and man, it wrecked my back, the hip that's got the tear, and I had to take 4 days off the bike, and I start looking at my quite structured plan right now for Leadville, and the wheels start turning. Like what you're describing, and you start to question yourself. What you're describing is beautiful because it's an example to people that, yes, we may not have Jesse Smith's physiology, but it's the example of one of my favorite phrases that I use in coaching. My daughter, they just took her photo for next year. There's going to be a banner of her hanging at the high school next year, and as somebody who embodies the school mantra of grit. And she got to pick a quote. And the quote she picked is one that I use with her and my athletes a lot, which is, give what you can, when you can, with what you got. And I think Jesse Smith, that's like a mantra for you, because I feel like that's what you do at the shop. That's what you do with your sponsored athletes. That's what you do with your clientele, your family, and certainly what you do on the race course. So I find your journey to the Ozarks to be quite relatable for most people who have a life and have a family and aren't necessarily able to stick to a structured plan, or perhaps are just dealing with injuries and overuse injuries and niggles and need some time off the bike. So yeah, I think people will find this inspiring and validating.
Yeah, I'm like remembering like that's it's a pretty crazy thing, because not only did I go do that, I filmed a lot of it, and then I didn't film all of it, but like you get what I mean. Like I made a YouTube video about it, and then guess how many hours on the phone I was on the phone working for like 8 hours of the 10-hour drive out there.
Yeah.
Nonstop phone calls. I just was like, this is insane. But yeah, it's weird how like the morning of the event, you just kind of like just jump into it, and then like you just stop worrying about all of that extra stuff. Like it doesn't matter anymore. Like, and it never, that, I think that's the thing that I'm good at, is like whenever I got up in the morning, I was like up till 1, worried about it. I was packing till 2 a.m. the night before, so I had like no sleep. And then you just are told to go ride your bike, and it's like none of that even is important at all. It's just deleted. It's literally just deleted from my head, like completely deleted. And you just have to like, okay, so now you have like a task, and it's just like hyper focused on, this is the only thing that matters, and this is the only thing I'm worrying about. My phone's on airplane mode. There's no way to have a distraction. Like all I have to do is this bike race right now, which is something that I know I do have a skill at. I think that's a skill. I think that's something people can learn to do, for sure. I don't think that's not like a I'm a better gifted athlete. That's a skill, which is cool. That the race went really well though. I just kept going, man. I knew I was like winning the race the whole time, but like in those long races, like even though you look at the map and you see, oh, they're an hour behind, well, like that's not really that much time. I mean, I know that sounds crazy.
How long
like,
were you out there, Jesse? What was the finishing time on that?
20 hours.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I think I can do it faster. I'm mentally gearing myself up to maybe do a third go at it, and maybe take a year off if I do it one more time, and then kind of put it to rest. I think if you look at the event, I'm not gonna lie, I think this will be the 4th year of the event. I think it's gonna be probably the best one. You know, like events have events kind of like have peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
Like I think the Ozark Doom is like about to hit a peak, and then it'll still be good years after, but like I really kind of feel like the next one's gonna be like a special one, if that makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
Like kind of like Mid-South, like I did the COVID mud Mid-South, and every year I've been back, it's like it wasn't as good. Like that was a special Mid-South. Everybody who was there knows. I think, where's my poster? Oh, it's this poster. Yeah, that one. This one.
Nice.
But that was a special race, and I just get a gut feeling that next year Ozark Doom is going to be like the best one ever. So I'll probably return just because of that. But the time, 20 hours, like, so if somebody's an hour back, let's say I get a flat tire, and then that burns like a half an hour because it'd be changing a flat tire in pitch black.
Yeah.
And then let's say I have another problem or something. Like you just lose time so quickly, you know? And if you start to like sometimes you need to lose time. It's like the last 3 climbs, because I had the light problem, I had to walk. So my light was dying because I didn't really have enough light to make it. I was in the dark for 7.5 hours. So I'm holding myself. So the solution is you turn the bike light off, and then I was using my cell phone light. And so I was walking, and that was slightly slower, but I had built up enough of a lead that I could afford that time penalty, basically. it was basically a time penalty because of my poor preparation. If you just
kept
want to
moving, but you kept moving. Yeah.
yeah, so it was the best solution to the problem at hand. But like, let's say like I had a flat earlier, and I also spent too long at the store, and I don't know, maybe at one point I spent too long filling up my water bottle. Well, all of a sudden now I've burnt an hour, and that guy's right behind me. So like, you just gotta like think about like, can you afford to like burn those stops? I was very, very, very disciplined for the first 150, 160 miles. I definitely slowed down in the dark, but the really only thing that went wrong was that phone holding walking situation. Had I been able to ride up those climbs, I don't know how much faster I could have gone. But like I was close enough to the end. I could see that he wasn't going to catch me if I walked. I knew I had enough time if I walked. And so I just was like, we're good. Let's make sure we're preserving the battery on the light instead of risking it to like maintain position or whatever it is. Bike packing is cool like that. But like, I wasn't really bike packing. I was really just doing a long race. Mountain bike, the 100-mile mountain bike races are kind of the same way.
Yeah.
Actually, it's the stops end up having bigger consequences because you have less time. Ozark Doom, you have more time that you can burn. The Cohutta, we were going to talk about Cohutta.
What was your time gap between how soon was the Cohutta after the Ozark Doom? How much time was there in between those? Is it 3 weeks?
Probably 2 or 3 weeks.
Two or 3 weeks. So what did your recovery look like? Like, what did your time look like between those two races? Was it just straight up recovery? Were you getting many rides in? Like, what did that look like?
Pretty much just rode on the weekend. Yeah.
Rode on the weekend. Okay.
Yeah, didn't ride a lot, to be honest. Let me. I can just Strava this really quick. So like, Ozark Doom was March 29th, and I did. You can't see that. Okay, so I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I did 8 rides over the course of 20 days, and they were all less than 30 miles.
Okay.
So not a lot. I was looking at that. That was pretty good for me, actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds good. That sounds like
a
good body of work for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how were you feeling going into Cohutta?
Awesome. I was stoked on Cohutta.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how was the mind was good? How was the body was good?
The mind was good because I just freaking won that race.
Exactly.
And I was like, oh crap! Like, am I good?
Give you wings for sure.
Yeah. I seriously was like, oh man, I might be really good this year. Because you just don't know. Like, and Kahuta wasn't. Kahuta has harder competition. I was
gonna say that's a highly competitive race from what I know of it, and I think that 6th place sounds like a stellar finish in my book.
The best way I have to frame it is in 2022 I did the Kahuta 100, and my time in 2024 was exactly 1 hour 1 minute faster.
Wow.
So it was a great day. Yeah. Still didn't make the podium.
What's the time in saddle for that one? What was that, Jesse?
8 hours.
8 hours.
8 hours and like 19 minutes. Yeah, 8 hours, 19 minutes. That race is cool. It's kind of like a big gravel race, but you wouldn't want to ride a gravel bike.
Yeah.
The first 30 or so miles is some just really fast, flowy single track, not very technical. And then you kind of just get into 70 miles of just climbing gravel roads. Like, you're just climbing the mountain roads out there.
And where's the race, Jesse?
It's right on the border of Tennessee and Georgia. So like the Cohutta, it starts in Tennessee in the Ocoee Whitewater Rafting.
That's right. Yeah.
Olympic Training Center. and then like there's a point where you cross into Georgia, and actually I think more of the race is in Georgia than it is in Tennessee, but it's like right on the border.
Tell me a little bit about your nutrition for that race. I mean, that's a long day out there, pushing, grinding. What is the elevation? Isn't it like, are you, isn't it
13 or
13,000?
Yeah, 13.
So it's Leadville-like elevation gain.
Yeah.
So what was your nutrition like?
I tried to do the same thing I did for...
I know you like that bicarb.
Yeah. I've now done a race where the bicarb didn't work, so now I have a new opinion. But it
we'll
worked.
Have to hit that. That'd be a good episode. That'll be a good episode. So what were you utilizing for this one?
Beta fuel gels, Gatorade, and I did take the bicarb at Kahuta, which was great. It worked great. I didn't have any cramping or anything. The thing I think I screwed up on was I didn't bring enough. So like at Ozark Doom, I ate 36 of those beta fuel gels. At Cohutta, I think where I failed was I wasn't eating enough. Probably need to be eating 2 or 3 of those an hour.
Yeah.
And I honestly I didn't bring enough of them.
What do you think you were taking on per hour, carb wise?
Maybe one of those, so like 80. 80 to, and then I was drinking some beta fuel in the bottles, so maybe 120 or something. Probably needed to double that, if I'm being honest with you.
You think you were taking on 80 to 120 carbs per hour?
There's 80 in one of those beta fuel gels, and then I was drinking the beta fuel in the bottles too.
Okay.
So it's impossible for me to like tell you like the amount of carb I drink.
For sure.
But I'm just estimating like if one of those things is 80, then the bottle is 360 total. So it probably 100 or so an hour, 120. But I don't think that was enough. It wasn't enough for me.
Sounds good. I mean, wow. That sounds pretty good to me, man, if you can be taking in 100 to 120 carbs, man. But
no, it's...
Man, the man's got
I think I need 200 an hour.
Wow. I don't know any athletes taking on that kind of carb load. That's a lot. Yeah.
Is it a lot?
Yeah, that is a lot. Yeah.
Let me look something up, dude.
That would
be. I might be saying something really dumb.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, I think Dylan's like shooting for around 100 carbs per hour.
Okay, this is the problem. Those have 40 in it, so I need 100.
That's exactly. I thought they were 40. So I was assuming you were getting so 100. 100 would be that'd been on point.
That would have been the correct move because I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that's what I was getting in Doom.
Yeah, I think there's some athletes out there pushing that 120, 130, but that would make sense. So 40, 80, 100, that would make that'd be spot on. So if you're putting out the numbers you're putting out and you're getting 40, 50, 60 racing, that's not enough. I mean, that's enough. 60 would be what I'd shoot for on a long zone 2 training ride, so you're getting less than that. And I've certainly had that experience, especially like at races like the Breck Epic where it's almost all single track and you're stacked in there and you're just trying to find a way to feed, but it's so hard to get your hand on it. So I can see that when you get wrapped up in that competitive mojo and as competitive as you are and being at the pointy end of the race, that certainly can be a challenge anytime you're on a mountain bike.
Well, and it sucks too because like it's the least fun part of it. Yeah. Like it's like to be completely honest with you, like this whole food math problem. Yeah. I wish we just didn't have to worry about it. Like I just want to eat a pill and not worry about it. It's like the least interesting part of it to me. Like I don't care about it. But like I will say I think we were talking earlier about other people and how even though I might not train as hard, like I'm still kind of in the mix. I still think I'm eating way more than most of those people out there. Yeah. I watch and I'm like, oh, you haven't eaten in a while. Oh, you still haven't eaten. And I'm like, how much longer are you going to go without eating, dude?
It's crazy to see.
Yeah, and then I start to and then I start getting impressed. I'm like, how are you still going?
Yeah.
Like seriously, like because like we're not talking like lifetime Grand Prix athletes. Like we're talking like weekend warriors who are at the top of the domestic game. There's some super fast guys racing these races, but like you don't know their names unless you're in the scene. I mean, I remember the last time in 2022, we were talking about 2022. Dylan did Cohutta and like won by like an hour or something. You know, like we're not even on the same playing field as those guys. But still, like I'm sitting there watching, and I'm like, are you going to eat anything? And then sometimes I think about it, like I'm like, that guy's going to die because he's not eating. But then I'm always wrong, and he's like still going, and I'm like, what is this? I wish I could do that, like, because I have to eat 2 gels an hour.
Yeah.
And I know I didn't bring enough, Michael, because I ran out at the 60-mile mark, and I had to switch over to the gels that they had at the aid station.
The hammer gels.
The hammer, yeah. Did you watch the video?
Yeah. I watched the video on the Trader the other day.
Yeah. So you know what's going on now. Those were so good though, and those actually had 100.
Peanut butter ones. Yeah.
Those had 100 in them.
Wow.
Like straight up, yeah.
100 calories or
100 calories?
Yeah, 100 calories. Yep. 100 calories, about 20 something carbs.
Okay, so you know way more
For
about.
sure. I'm pretty dialed in on the nutrition just from coaching some athletes and getting coached up myself. You know, getting that level 2 USA Cycling coaching certification is a deep dive into exercise science and physiology, and definitely learning. You know, I think I told you at the Crusher and the Tusher in 2022. You know, I raced pretty well, but by my standards, for the first 4 hours, and I still hit my goal of going under 7. But you know, the Crusher and the Tusher, they call the toughest 70 miles on the planet. It's 69.9 miles. You climb over 10,000 feet of elevation. You top out over 10,000 feet in elevation twice. So, you know, it's kind of high altitude race, and the temperature hit somewhere around 108, 109 degrees that day. Going through the Sarlacc pit, climbing up the Col de Crush, and I made many mistakes in the back half of that race. The biggest mistake I made was coming off the Col de Crush. You know, you coach athletes up. Everybody knows to get with a group during that flat section. It's about a 45-minute asphalt section. But the mistake I made was getting with the group I was ahead of them. I waited, and they were going harder than I should have been going for that 45 minutes. So I wasn't getting any nutrition in. That was some of my highest heart rate. And then I hit the Col de Crush, Sarlacc pit and the Col de Crush, and my nutrition game started to lapse. And then I got so nauseous in that heat that I essentially stopped eating the last 3 hours, because the one thing I thought I had going for me was I was hydrated. I was staying on top of my hydration, and I was watching people throwing up left and right. And I felt like once you start throwing up and now you lose the one thing you got going for you. In hindsight, I mean, that last 3 hours, I was not racing. I was surviving.
Yeah.
I was able to race the last climb, the pavement climb, got some wings when I saw my daughter and wife. But in hindsight, man, I still should have been taking on a gel every 20 to 30 minutes and just, you know, giving myself some fuel. And so, yeah, I think when you unlock that piece for yourself, man, I think just again with your physiology, with your power, I think you're just going to take it to a whole nother level. You know, as you play more with that and you figure that out. I think for you, the drink mixes are great. You know, on something like a Flow Formula. I like the Flow Formula, the Scratch Lab. What I like about the Flow Formula is it's 2 scoops for 60 carbs, 3 scoops for 90. So it's easy. Like you, I hate doing that math in my head, you know, as far as the gels, that some are 22, some are 27 grams, some, you know, the calories, some are 100, some are 80, some are 120. So the drink mixes can be nice, but over a long day like the Cohutta, you're gonna have to mix that up for sure. And so I think you're gonna dial that in even more.
I'm excited that you know a lot about it, because like it's my biggest blind spot, and I'm trying my best.
The fact
like
that you're doing what you're doing with that blind spot.
Yeah.
You got a lot of time you can cut off just by fixing that.
Yeah.
You know, just by dialing that in.
And you can tell my ignorance. I thought there was 100 carbs in that gel.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I was like,
No,
oh, it's sweet.
that's what we love about you, man. That's what we love about you, and you're still going out there and crushing it. How did you feel about your Cohutta race? How did you, looking back, like how do you feel about that? I mean, you're going over an hour under your time from the year prior.
Yeah.
How's
Yeah,
your
that's
headspace right now?
that's cool, man. Like it, my headspace is lower because I then did a race the next weekend and didn't really do super good. But man, the Kahuta was awesome because like it's the fourth time I've been to that race. I've been sixth or seventh in the 65-mile race before. I'd have to dig through the maybe let's just call it top 10. I don't know for sure. But like,
And are you talking overall, Jesse? Age
no,
group?
no.
Age
I'm
group?
talking. Okay, this is a whole.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is a whole opinion, and
Okay.
you might not like it if you're a listener. But so my opinion is like, I enter open. I enter the hardest category I am allowed to enter.
Okay.
I'm actually 30 now, and there's some races that have like a 30 age group.
Yeah.
I will never do that. Maybe
Okay.
when I'm old, I might do the 50 plus, you know.
Yeah.
Because I like that it's 50 plus. I feel like once you're to be 50, like yeah, you know, like there's a difference there.
Yeah.
But like for me, I'm just looking at it like, no, I'm entering open, I'm entering pro, I'm entering Cat 1.
Wow.
I don't care if I get last place. I'm racing the best event of this race. I do not want a consolation race. I want to know if I'm like I want to race the real deal guys and be in that mix. But because I'm entering open, if you make the decision to enter age group, you are irrelevant to me. You did not beat me, even if your time is faster. You did not enter the open category. You entered the. I don't. Yeah, I didn't. I don't want to call it a consolation category. But like I straight up don't view you as beating me. We weren't in the same race. Like even though we are in the same race at the same start time, like I just don't care. Like I'm like no, I got sixth. I was probably like 10th overall, but I was sixth in open. They can't take that away from me. They could have taken it away from me, but they decided not to. And especially single speed, that's a whole different thing. Like it's a completely different sport. Like I was with a lot of them. The top end single speed guys are incredibly strong and talented. They can't go any slower up the climbs. So like I mentioned this in the video, like if you're climbing with a single speed dude, like take a look at your power really quick, because like you might be making a big mistake. Like you don't unless they're like just happen to be going the same as you. It's like no, they got one gear. Like you gotta like don't fall into the trap. Like you're not even racing those guys. You're just not. Like ignore them. Just straight up ignore them. Yeah. So yeah, definitely like. That's always been my thing. Like I would rather get last place in open than race the. I hate calling it a consolation category, but that's kind of the way my mind feels about it. If that makes sense. I hope that's not offensive. I'm not trying to make that seem offensive. If you like to enter age group, it's just it makes me feel like I just want to enter the thing and I want to take my medicine and lose, like with my ego, you know, intact.
That's it. I think we all pick our poison. You know, I don't think it needs to be offensive to anybody. You're clearly making this a very this is your personal feeling about your race experience, and for the next person, it's something else. You know, it's something else. So I will tell you this: if I was coaching you, Jesse, like I wouldn't have let you do that race a week later after doing the damn Cohutta 100. So I can relate to that. I mean, last year I had a race. I took a crash on day 2 of the Breck Epic and kind of flared up the knee, flared up the wrist. I had a race scheduled for 13 days afterwards, and didn't think I'd be able to ride it, but my PT green lighted me to go. Really didn't get to do any riding in between the Breck Epic and that, and I just felt terrible that day, and that was kind of how I wrapped up my season. You know, our season's pretty short here in Montana, so I definitely would have tried to keep you from towing the line on that one. So I would say celebrate that, celebrate what experienced in the Ozarks, at the Ozark Doom and the Cohutta. You're riding strong. And again, I think your modality, your style, I think your approach is going to be relatable and inspiring to a lot of people, especially if you're dealing with injuries, if you're dealing with niggles, to show that, hey, you know what, things don't have to be perfect to show up and race, and you might have to adjust your expectations a little bit depending upon who you are. But I think you're a great example of somebody showing up, and you're clearly showing out. Hey, before we wrap this one up, I got to hit you up with some pedals. Okay, we got to talk. I got to run some pedal things by you. So you know about my background. I won't dive too deep into it, but as far as being on the high dose of blood thinners, I've got a really rare clotting disorder. I've got an autoimmune disorder, so I've fought a lot of tendinopathies over the years. So long before I got diagnosed with this clotting disorder and got put on blood thinners, I switched from clips that I'd been riding since I was 18 to flats because of the ability to be able to adjust my foot, which with my autoimmune disorder, it's called ankylosing spondylitis, you get a lot of tendinopathies. And one of the places where I tend to have a lot of flares is the Achilles, the left Achilles in particular. And so the flats were brilliant. What I don't like about the flats is, I do a pretty good job having mountain bikes since a young gun as far as pedal placement, but you just really can't avoid, you get some wicked pedal strikes on the flats that I don't think you get, in the clips. With that said, up until more recently, and even recently, last year I raced the Breck Epic on flats. I've raced the BC bike race on flats. I've done the White Rim in a Day solo by myself on flats. Some guy like 3 years later did a video like he was the first to do the White Rim in a Day on flats. He made a video out of it. I've done the Crusher and the Tusher on flats, and so with that said, I've been picking your brain on the BC 40, the Allied that you built up on the pedals that we're going to go to for Leadville. Okay, and you brought something up that I really, you an HT guy? Is that what you're running? Yes, you're an HT guy, and I know you like the HTs because you can get them so tight you can't get your feet out of. That's not what I'm looking for. And so I've been looking at the why I like the Shimano, because I've got many shoes with those cleats. Want to be able to bounce back and forth. I've looked at the looks, but you brought up something interesting to me in your when we were on the phone the other night, about why you like running not flats but platforms with the clips on a gravel bike or on a drop bar bike. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So ultimately, like, what Michael was asking is, like, basically, like, he was like, what pedals should I run for Leadville? And the conversation, like, we don't really want to run flats, right? Because it's not as fast. And we were talking about how Look X-Trax have bigger platform. And
then the Shimano XTR.
And the Shimano XTRs, and we're not talking about the enduro pedals right now. But then what I do is, on my gravel bikes, I buy the enduro pedals, like the ones with the bigger platforms. They're the trail enduro mountain bike pedals, and most pedal companies sell them. Like Shimano has XT. I'm sure Look even makes one.
They do. They make the uncaged, and then the XTR. Yeah, the uncaged, and then the XTR. They've got an XT and XTR with the platform.
So the reason I actually run those on all of my drop bar gravel rigs, or if I'm doing a gravel focused race, I'll run those. I feel like you get better power transfer out of them. And Michael was saying he gets hot spots, and I think having the extra platform for your foot to rest on really does make a big difference. I mean, a noticeably difference to me. In a race like Leadville, the ground scraping problem won't exist either. So the reason I don't mountain bike in them is because the enduro pedals are way more prone to hitting stuff, like way more. It's like a weird paradox, or it's like a conundrum in my head. It's like these are supposed to be the downhill pedals, but like you clip your feet on them all the time.
And it's scary. Anybody who's had a high speed, like I did at the Breck, a high speed pedal strike, like that's one of the most scary things on a mountain bike, you know, is ripping downhill high speeds and having a pedal strike. Yeah.
Well, and it you're connected through your core, right? And so it, like you hit your foot and like it screws up your steering, and then like it's like a jolt from like the whole body. That's why I run HT, by the way, because that's like the thing I hate the most in like mountain biking. And HT keeps me in the bike. So I'm not coming unclipped in those situations. I'm also kind of a heavy, low cadence kind of guy. And like a Shimano XTR, I can just pull my foot out of. You know, it just happens occasionally. It's annoying.
So when you're running that platform with the clipless platform on your gravel bike, are you running the HT version of that?
Yes, yeah. HT makes it.
And you do find that, because it's interesting when you look in the when you look at the chat rooms, and I also want to ask you, like, what are you guys seeing with the XTRs? I've run XTs for years. Like, I've never serviced them, no problems. But man, the reviews on the XTRs, which are what I'd like to throw on that light BC40, I know it's marginal gains, but the reviews on the seals and on the play, the axle, like, man, the reviews aren't very good on those Shimano XTRs right now.
Let me just talk in general terms, because we do sell a lot of Shimano pedals, but like we also don't, you know. We also don't sell a lot of Shimano stuff. I'm pretty much, I'm not a Shimano like hater. I've made some jokes, and I will still continue to make some jokes.
Hey, we see the SRAM right behind your left ear.
Yeah, well,
right behind your left ear. I know that's what you decked out my BC40 with.
Yeah, they support the cause, and they're pretty local, so that's why that's like that. Like they're in on like helping us grow and supporting the bike shop. You know, Shimano's there. Nobody from Shimano's ever stepped foot in one of my stores. You know, and they're welcome to. They just haven't, and so that's kind of the difference. This is a general thing that I don't have like data on, but I've just noticed. So you remember when SRAM was really well known for like warranty claims and stuff like that? Shimano is in a bad spot with quality control and warranties right now. But for some reason, they don't get the same bad SRAM's fixed their brakes for like the last, I don't know, like 8 years, but still people to this day still are like, I won't run SRAM brakes. Like, I'm sorry, I just won't. Well, guess what? I warranty more Shimano brakes than SRAM brakes now. The Shimano brakes have way more problems now, like way more problems, and it's just like, goodwill goes a long way, and like it's a general problem. I mean, the crank thing is a big publicized Shimano warranty issue. Are you even aware of that? Do you even road bike, Michael?
No.
Yeah, so all the Shimano cranks for the last like 10 or 15 years, there's been an amazing Instagram account called Thanks Shimano if you're interested in learning about it. But it's called galvanic corrosion. Shimano uses like a steel axle and an aluminum crank arm, or it might be the opposite. It might be an aluminum axle. It's one of the two. Sorry, I don't remember off the top of my head. And if you get like some kind of saline solution in it, like Gatorade or salt water, it corrodes and it'll peel like a banana. There's tons of photos of it. Shimano has ignored this problem for, like I said, 10 years. It's been a problem for that long. They just ignored it. And now there's a bunch of lawsuits and still kind of an ongoing thing. But like, when is public perception of the brand going to flip? Because boots on the ground, like right now for me, like they're the ones having the biggest problems, not SRAM. I mean, SRAM's got problems too. Every brand has warranties. I'm not saying that it's part of the business. Like, warranties are normal. If you have a warranty, I'm sorry, but understand that, like, it's part of it, and we're gonna do our best to help you. Because I do a lot of warranties, you know. But yeah, Shimano currently is probably, in the manufacturing component side of things, the warranty king right now. They're super helpful. Like, they're definitely supporting. That's not the problem. It's that there's something going on with their quality control, and hopefully they can sort it out.
Jesse, if you go look at reviews, anywhere of the XTRs, like it's low bar after low bar as far as the rating, and it's people talking about after their first ride, their second ride, their third ride, the seal just keeps popping out, pedal play. But the big thing is the seal on those XTRs that you don't have. I don't have that issue on my XTs. I don't think they have that.
Well, because they're old.
But yeah,
the old
exactly.
ones are
They're
great.
Yeah.
Well, like, I mean, again, you don't road bike, so you probably don't know this. Their power meter just straight up doesn't work. They sell a very, very, very expensive Dura-Ace power meter. And whatever the algorithm is doing, I watched an amazing YouTube video about this. This guy tested it. And it does a math problem to estimate your power. So when you shift from the big ring to the little ring, it like halves the power. It's completely making up numbers. And it's completely inaccurate. And again, there's a bunch of videos on the internet about the Dura-Ace and Ultegra power meter problem. But like, how are they allowed to sell that? It blows my mind. Like, they're just selling a power meter that doesn't work, and people are buying it. It's crazy to me. But still, SRAM brakes, like those old SRAM brakes really, yeah, it's weird. I hope they figure it out.
Do you find on your HT pedals that you are getting contact? Because what I've seen as far as the complaint on the Shimano and the look uncaged, and you'll actually see the videos the images in some of the reviews where the shoe isn't even coming in contact with most of the pedal. And so I think my concern, and I think the complaint for some is, why spend a little more but put more weight on the bike and more opportunity for a pedal strike if the shoe's not even coming in contact with it?
Yeah, so I have like oh my god, okay, Shimano XT and a M1 HT Leopard. Your shoe, this has way less just like mass to it. Your shoe definitely comes into contact with this.
What about the platform version though?
Oh yeah, I got that right here too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You can see, and I only run these with clips.
Okay.
Like, you can see, like, I got the.
Yeah, so
well, maybe I should test this. I mean, like,
yeah, you should test it. I'd be curious, because you had me sold hook, line, and sinker, but then I saw a number of images with the XTR platform and the look uncaged. I believe it's the uncaged. Forgive me if it's not.
Hey, Jackson.
Where people's shoe wasn't even coming into contact, and then it just felt like added weight and more opportunity for a pedal strike. And I know at Leadville, your time on single track is limited, but there's still some sketchy descents, like coming off a Columbine and coming off a power line. And I'm not trying to buy pedals for a one day classic, so
go get me a mountain bike shoe from the Colorado. We're gonna test it.
All right, let's test it.
Yeah, Jackson's on it, guys. If you look at the side profile too, though, like the body is like this is where, so like this is the same height. So I'm assuming if you're making contact with this, you're also making contact with that, and that's the back of your shoe there. Looks like the front is a little bit lower. These pedals also are cool because it's like the back end is the spring tension and the back end kind of is the clip. Then there's like a wire. Yeah. All right, so.
Moment of truth.
Yeah, this is a Shimano RX-8 gravel shoe. We were just talking crap about Shimano. Let me say something good. They have excellent shoes. Excellent. excellent shoes. You guys should buy some Shimano shoes. Um,
Well, hey, and let's talk too. You know, I'm a SRAM guy. Everything you see hanging behind me, all the bikes in the crib are all Shimano. Are all SRAM. But you're talking to me about that getting that GRX potentially on the cutthroat, and I hear good things about the GRX. Yeah.
So that's the contact with the pedal.
Looks like you got some pretty good contact there.
It's most of it's in the back.
Yeah.
The front is, I think, more for hopping on and off.
So I'd be curious to see if you think you're getting more contact there versus on just the standard non-platform version. This is the question.
100%.
You are getting more contact?
It has to be.
Yeah. All right.
Because the last pedal was all the way down to the. Let's use that as the benchmark.
Okay.
I remember the last pedal being all the way to the edge. Let's double check.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you are. Okay.
It's all the way to the edge of that, so it's definitely more.
You sold me. You sold me. You sold me. I don't know if you're gonna get me off the Shimanos. I don't know if I'm gonna go away from the XTs or XTRs. I like those SPD. At least the thing I like, for me, it's the opposite. You like those HTs because they lock you in. For me, what I like about the Shimanos is what you don't like about them. How easy I can get out. Easy I can get out. Yeah.
I've never run these loose, so I was thinking about that after our phone call. I was like, oh, you know what? I bet you could just loosen these and it'd be fine. Mm-hmm. I need to probably test that for you, because if you're worried about the seal problem on Shimano, and you can get these loose enough to get in and out, it might be worth a shot,
I like the idea that if you can get them loose enough, then the only thing I'm dealing with is the fact that I got a bunch of these sitting back here, Jesse. I got probably three pairs with the SPDs, with the bike fit, and it's kind of nice being able to just jump on and go. Jump on and go. So.
I envy people that just ride their bike.
Yeah.
I can't do anything without making sure it's my seat's at the perfect angle, and it sucks. It's the worst. And I remember whenever I used to just ride bikes and not worry, and some days I miss that. But
well, that might lead us into the next one. I think we're going to talk bike fit. Let's talk bike fit, this next one, because I'm a big believer in it. It's been a game changer for me, here in the last couple years, as far as the niggles and the overuse injuries. And I know you're pretty bullish about a good bike fit. So I think that'd be a good one to wrap on.
I like that idea too, because I have a weird. I think nowadays, let me just give you a little teaser.
Okay.
I think nowadays people think that back pain is solved by raising your body up.
Yeah.
And I'm arguing that I think you need to go lower and longer. It's not for everybody, but that's my teaser for my bike fit opinion.
Let's get it. Let's get it next week, because I'll give you a little teaser. That beautiful handlebar and stem you sent me, I flipped that mug because because it was leaning so much. I'm like, hey man, we got to get a little positive rise here.
So we're opposite. This is good. This is gonna be good.
Yeah. All right, Jesse, man, thank you for your time today. Super stoked about this one. I'm gonna send you the cover art is coming, and it's looking fly, I think. So, man, it's always good rapping with you. I love our late night talks as you're out driving around, maybe getting an ice cream cone. I'm going to pick up the daughter from swim practice, but seeing you face to face is always good energy. I'm always on the YouTube channel. I save them for those long days on the trainer, man. I'm on the trainer so much. And so that's another thing I'll talk to you a little bit about, is just again, the man, maybe it's just that engine from swimming, but how he keeps that fitness going without getting on that indoor trainer, living in a northern climate. But we love the shop, we love the bicycle station, we love what you bring, and just excited to be on this journey with you, man. So episode 1, that's a wrap, man. I'll catch you here soon.
Yeah, sounds good, Michael. Definitely, anybody in the audience, feel free to comment if there's something you want us to talk about. We're pretty excited about this, and hopefully you enjoyed it, because we don't have a hard schedule on this yet. Maybe we will in the future, but definitely subscribe to all the podcast links, and here on the YouTube channel if you're watching. I guess not here on the YouTube channel. Wherever you're listening to this, definitely subscribe. I'm going to have to get used to all these different platforms that I don't normally work with.
Definitely.
Anyway, I guess you got anything else you need to say, Michael?
Subscribe and give us one of those 5-star reviews. I know they're elusive, but it doesn't take time. On Spotify, on Apple, give us a 5-star review. Goes a long way. And yeah, hit us up in the comment section, especially on Spotify or YouTube. And we're excited to be putting this on the Bicycle Station channel. Subscribe to that Bicycle Station channel because it's a good one. If you enjoy this content, Jesse's content's even better and more visual. So yeah, we've got nothing but love for you, Jesse. Appreciate you, and we'll talk to you here soon.
See you later, Michael.
All right.